Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Nasdaq Sina, and today, guys, we just came to do another video. It's been long without dropping, so I decided to drop something since it's CPI time. Today is the today it's the 13th of November 2024, and it's CPI today around 15:30 South African time. So, like, guys, note that this is not a financial advice nor compulsory for you to take the same direction as me, but this is my trade ideas that I'm gonna be looking forward to for today, including CPI as well. So, like, guys, before we can do like a lot of things, I just want to start with the dollar index because it's been long without us trading according to correlation, right? So I'm just gonna start on the forward time frame, which is this one, and then I'm gonna go to 1 day time frame and then see what is it that I actually have, because I've seen like dollar index didn't actually go to this demand zone over here, and I was actually waiting for it to come and tap here before and then push to the top side because it was somewhere around here. But unfortunately, what it did is that it pushed to the top side from that point over there. So today what I'm gonna do, guys, is that I'm gonna be removing everything, and then I'm gonna actually try to analyze the dollar index. So let me just flip this chart like this, and then I'm gonna see what is it that I should expect on dollar index, right? So as we see, guys, like the first thing that I like to do is target if I have a break of structure or something, and then I'm gonna target my current low or my current high. So if we could check here we could say we had our break of structure. I could say the buy side liquidity or the sell side liquidity, because the chart is actually flipped, right? So going furthermore, I'm gonna highlight this one as my current low or high, depending on the thing that I'm gonna be doing right now, right? So let me just highlight that one as well. So if we were to check again here, guys, here I think we have this order block over here, which was actually respected before anything else, and we're actually sitting around it at this point over here right now, right? So if I were to template this one, I'd say this is an order block, and we could see that it is actually respected around this place over here, right? So what is it that I should actually look for, since I have this kind of thing that order block is being respected? So I'm gonna flip the chart back again and then try to see what is it that I have actually. So this is my current low, and this is my current high over here, the top side, right? This is my current high. So what are the possibilities of us pushing to the top side from that point over there, or pushing down there to tap our demand zone or order block by the below side? So one thing that I'm gonna do right now is that I'm gonna template this one as my current high, and then I'm gonna template this one as my demand zone. So I feel like we still have time, or we still have the need to go and fill that demand zone over there just before the dollar index could actually push furthermore to the top side, right? So this is my demand zone. So the thing that I'm gonna do from that point, since I'm on 1 day time frame, I'm gonna go to forward time frame and then see if I have a possibility of reversing from that point over there, right? And then I'm gonna go to forward time frame and then try to check what is it that I have. Another thing, I could see that we have an opening gap over here, which is something that I actually like to trade when it comes to certain pairs, especially indices, right? So I'm gonna show you something when it comes to Nasdaq, especially on the opening gap, that's gonna be more beneficial for some of you to use it to capitalize or something. And guys, I repeat again, no, this is not a financial advice, no compulsory for you to take the same direction as me. This is my personal observations or my personal bias when it comes to the market, right? So I'm gonna template this one as my opening gap, and then we're gonna see something else from that point. So yeah, let's see what is it that we have. So I feel like when it comes to the dollar index, we still have time to reverse from that point over there, since we are sitting on a order block on a daily time frame. And then I'm gonna put my stop loss below my high, above my high, and then I'm gonna target the first thing here, which is the opening gap, and then we have to break the opening gap and then push furthermore to the downside. So within this thing, it could take time to happen. So we have to take note that where are we actually supposed to utilize. If I were to go to 15 minutes or 45 minutes, I'm gonna see if I have something that I could actually use at that point over there, such that I know that if I enter at this point, I could actually capitalize furthermore to the downside. So if we were to check the dollar index, it's becoming more bearish for us, and we could actually take our trades from that point over there when it comes to this, because I could see already that it started to give us these selling opportunities, and then it left what its supply zone over here. So within this supply zone over here, that's where I could actually enter my sales from that point over there, right? And then you know what happens on a supply zone: go low or we go bearish. So I'm gonna take my sales from this point and then put my stop loss above that order block on the daily time frame, which is much reasonable for me to risk less for more, because you could see that I could actually utilize from this supply zone over here, and it becomes much safer for me to push to the downside. So I'm just gonna aim this to this point here, and then I'm gonna check which pairs again should I do from that point, because I know that most of the time I used to use correlation, that the dollar index, if it sells, it means indices has to buy and USD has to sell as well. So I'm gonna still apply the correlation over here, but I have to make the video much shorter for us to actually utilize on it and then try to learn something from that point, right? So from that point over here, I feel like we could take our selling opportunities on the dollar index, and then if I were to go to another pair, let's see what is that we have, and then we can know where to utilize. So this is USD ZAR, which is a trade that we've been holding for long now, but we actually went out somewhere here because I don't believe in holding USD ZAR trades more frequently, right? So this was a quick clean setup that we had. It was a clean entry, because as you could see here, we started by analyzing here that we had our temporary low over here. The market over here was somewhere around here, and then we had this break of structure over here, which is what actually influenced me that we are pushing to the top side furthermore, right? So I'm just gonna template this one and then try to show you what is it that I mean that the USD ZAR has to push furthermore to the top side, right? After breaking this here, we came here and then created a temporary, it pushed up and then broke this structure over here, and then it created the current high. Because you know, most of the time guys, I target like from that entry point to my current high or my current low, depending on the trend that I'm gonna be having, right? So here we had an order block, and then as soon as it came here, we tried to take our buy opportunities, and then we said we're gonna hold up until here. But unfortunately, we went out somewhere around here, and then you could see that went there to the top side and then started to reverse. So something that I've noticed is that it didn't actually go to my current high. The reason being is what? I don't know, but I think it's the market behavior. It won't just go straight to our current high. It has to react in a certain manner for it to do. So another thing that I've noted, that since it did this and then reversed from that point over here, it left this as my current temporary low, and then I had a demand zone over here, and then I dragged and then said once it taps this demand zone, I'm gonna enter my buys, and then actually did the same. From that point, it started to push up. So bear in mind that I'm still targeting that current high that I have at that point over there, which is something else that we're gonna use. Because once I get an entry, there's no way that I'm gonna be analyzing that pair again unless it completes my setup or something. I wouldn't risk taking entries while it's halfway here and then try to analyze and then say from this point it will push up, which is wrong for me to do so. My strategy doesn't actually allow me to do that. This is how I actually plan my trades and my analysis, right? So we're just gonna skip USD ZAR and then we're gonna try to see on USD CAD. So USD CAD, I don't feel like it's a structure that I could trade. Reason being is that I don't know what to see over here because it's actually complicated for me to use it. So I'm just gonna skip USD CAD as well. On USD JPY, I'm just gonna go to 1 day time frame, and then bear in mind that we have what correlation when it comes to the dollar JPY, right? So I'm just gonna go to 1 hour time frame and then try to show you something that I have at that point. Because here we had a temporary low and then we started to come to the order block over here, which is something that I could use right now. So without wasting time, guys, I just want to do this right now. Try to show you what is it that I see when it comes to the dollar index. I mean USD/JPY. So it means it has to correspond with the dollar index. It means if the dollar index is selling, USD/JPY has to sell as well. So if we check here, guys, we had what this break of structure over here, or the buy side liquidity, right? And then I'm just gonna template this one over here. Excuse me for a minute. Let me just be out for a minute. So yeah, guys, I'm back again. So as I was saying, as you could see here, we had this break of structure over here, which is the dollar JPY, right? So from that point over here, we're just gonna allocate certain pairs that we're gonna use. I think it's gonna be more beneficial for us, or it's gonna be reasonable in targets, right? So the first thing that I'm gonna do is this order block over here. It's this order over here, right? Just gonna make sure that I utilize when it comes to this order block. So what are the chances of us coming here? We don't know. So this is the 4-hour order block and another one over here, which is the 4-hour order block again. So I just have to take note that there is a possibility of it coming to this point over here, and we have the last one over here. So we're just gonna aim the first one at the top side, right? But mostly I'd like to use what was formed first, right? Eventually, if I had to want to take buy opportunities when it comes to USD/JPY, I'd actually wait for the market to come and tap it and then push to the top side, because it gives me much motive that we have this temporary low again over here. So we might come to that point over there. So I'm just gonna let the analysis play for as long as it takes, because you know that this is a 4-hour time frame. So it will take time for it to eventually make this kind of movement, right? So this is my temporary low. Just gonna let it as this point. So it means now I have to check for a reversal point within this space over here, right? Which is where I could actually try to make sure that I get an entry that is gonna come to this 4-hour order block. So I'm gonna switch to 3-hour time frame, and then I don't see nothing. 2-hour time frame, I don't see nothing as well. I'm gonna go to 1-hour time frame, which is much easier for me to use. So let's see what is it that we have when it comes to USD/JPY on 1-hour time frame. So if we were to check, this is what we have on 1-hour time frame, right? We have a break of structure again, and we've left what this demand zone, I mean order block over here, which is already filled, as you could see, which is already filled. And this was just a manipulation with the wick on 1-hour time frame, because you know, like when it comes to the market that it's approaching like major events like CPI, NFP, there's a lot of manipulations. You might have a clear entry point, but it's gonna manipulate you most of the time. So the order block was violated over here, but I feel like from that point over there, we could actually take our selling opportunities as soon as it comes and taps over here, unless I look for a more like on 15 minutes time frame and try to check an entry that's gonna be much reasonable for me. So I'm just gonna target this order block over here, which are allocated on 4-hour time frame, right? So if I go to 45 minutes, I'm gonna see what is it that I have. Still, we have an order block over here, but I wouldn't use that one because there's no fair value gap. It becomes invalid for me to use it, same as that one. So I'm just gonna go to 30 minutes time frame. Yeah, so this one I could actually use it as well. So depends on where will I actually find the market at when it comes to 15:30, 15:29, because that's where I'm gonna actually be taking my selling opportunities, right? So if I find the market at this point of this order block over here, I'm gonna take my selling opportunities. So you could see that this one becomes much valid for us because it has what, a fair value gap. So I'm gonna delete the 1 hour time frame order block because it doesn't have a fair value gap. So I'm gonna remove it and then go to 15 minutes time frame, and then I'm gonna use this order block over here. So basically I'm gonna use this order block over here, which is something that I don't normally do. Reason being is that I don't enter immediately as it taps here. I have to wait for 50% of it to be filled, and then I take my selling opportunities. But for a better or a safe way, we just have to make sure that we enter as soon as it taps there, because it's an event. It might spike up to this point to fill this 50%. It might not. It might just push from that point to the downside. So we just make sure that we enter when it comes here. So I think this is USD JPY. So what I'm gonna do right now is take a screenshot of this trade and then make sure that I'm gonna be showing everything once done. So another pair that we have, I wouldn't say let's trade BTC. Another thing, it's Nasdaq. So Nasdaq, guys, something that I wanted to show you, which is why it was actually effective for me, right? So as you could see, guys, here we had what, we had an opening gap, right? And then after that opening gap, it played above it and then came down below it. So it left and over here, pushed again to fill it, and then they decided to go back to sell further more. So these are was the previous low, and this was the previous day high. So same thing here. It's the same thing that I'm actually expecting, right? So I feel like since we have this opening gap over here, I wouldn't actually analyze Nasdaq again, because I know that it has to at least try to go and push to that order block by the top side. So here we had an opening gap, and then it played above the opening gap, right? Checked, becomes effective. So played above the opening down, it was our low, right? Then it did what, which trades I use this order and then put it downside. So let me remove this and then try to say this is my current high, because I know that once we go to that point, that order block over there, we're gonna have much of us pushing to that current low over there. But mostly I'd say for Nasdaq, we just have to look for an entry opportunity over here that will push us to that order block. So for Nasdaq, I might say that from this side over here, we could actually push from that to that point. So I'm just gonna leave Nasdaq as this one, but it means for now I just have to go further more into detail and then try to check for an entry that I'm gonna be taking buys at. So it left what over here, an order block. This is an order block. This is an order block, and it was already halfway filled. So I wouldn't actually take any trades when it comes to this point. So I'm just gonna make sure that at least I'm gonna tap here and then push to the top side. So rather than that, guys, I feel like Nasdaq, we're just gonna utilize it when it comes to 15 minutes time frame, right? Because we have to check a good entry when it comes to any time frame. So I'm gonna end on 5 minutes or 15 minutes. So this is 15 minutes, and then I had a break of structure over here, and then I'm left with what? I'm left with this over here, because there's actually a smaller fair value gap. So there might be a possibility of me entering my trades at that point over there. But I have to note in mind that that order block on 1 hour, I have to put my stop loss below that 50% of that order block, right? So this order block, I'm gonna enter my buying opportunities on Nasdaq as soon as it comes here, and then I think 50% of that thing was somewhere around here. But I feel like let us just play it safe and then put it somewhere here, and then say once it taps there, we're gonna push furthermore to the top side, right? We're gonna push furthermore to the top side to that order block. So it becomes much reasonable for me to say from that point I could go up until that point. So I'm just gonna take a screenshot. And then lastly, guys, I'm gonna do USDT. USDT is which was something that I haven't traded like in a long time. So let us just try to see. I feel like this time frame is good for USDT because we already have a clear thing over here, because you could see that we have a break of structure again, which is something that I actually use to analyze most of the time, right? Firstly, I need break of structure. I need the current high and current low or temporary low, right? And then I'd say this is my current high. So I feel like there's more buying opportunities when it comes to USDT, more of them. I feel like that's where we're gonna utilize on USDT, right? So this is my current high, and then from that point over there, we had what? This order block. And I've been like waiting for this setup for like yesterday, but I did my analysis on the phone, so I couldn't actually take my trades from that point over there. So you see, it did what? It tapped for it to tap again. Right, I'd say this is not an order block but a demand zone, right? So since we don't have a fair value gap over here, we could use this one here as our demand zone, and then make sure that once it taps, we push to the top side. And it eventually did, as you could see, it tapped this demand zone. So we were gonna take this trade if we took note and then use this demand zone instead of the order block, right? So for USDT, I believe we're gonna be pushing to the top side even more. Like that's what I'm actually more confident on, because like this is the pair that was actually my favorite pair, right? Which I actually used to trade a lot. So now we're just gonna make sure that we push to the top side. So we're just gonna need a re-entry from that point over here. So it forces me to go to 15 minutes and then try to check what is it that I have on smaller time frames. So on 5 minutes, I feel like here I'm gonna be using a fair value gap that's over here. Once I come back to this fair value gap over here, I'm gonna take my entries, because remember that I once told you guys that for me to have second entries, if I've missed the first one, I have to make sure that I enter my trades as much as I reach a fair value gap. So I'm just gonna note this is my fair value gap, and then note that if it comes to this fair value gap over here, that's where I'm gonna be taking my buying opportunities. So yeah, this is it, guys. This is the end of the video. Let's make sure that we